Hey guys, so today I just wanted to go over all the new features that were released with Flutter 3.19. As I can see from this Medium article, it was released 1 day ago. I haven't personally upgraded to point 19 yet, but I thought it'd be good to get together and just check in and take a look at what the new features are. There's some really exciting stuff in here. So the first headline here is AI integration. I've seen this on LinkedIn and on social media a lot. So Gemini Google AI Dart SDK beta release. The SDK enables you to build generative AI features into your Dart or Flutter app powered by Gemini, Google's latest family of AI models. So it'd be really interesting to see if you'll be able to use Gemini Pro here. I don't really see this as a groundbreaking integration because up until now you were still able to integrate a ChatGPT, obviously via the OpenAI API with Flutter. So I mean, it's a nice to have, and it's good to be able to use something that's made by Google within a Google framework. It kind of makes sense, and for them to also maintain and build the SDK. But yeah, nothing that we weren't able to do before, I guess. In terms of the framework, they've made some improvements to scrolling, which is always good to see. You can now configure the default scroll behavior with multi-touch drag strategy latest pointer to get a number of finger agnostic scrolling behavior. So this is actually a really interesting one. I just clicked on the link and it reminded me of a GitHub issue that I saw on the Flutter repo a long time ago. There was an issue in the framework where multiple pointers in a scroll view would actually increase the speed of scrolling. So if you scrolled, for example, with 2 fingers and then you added a third one, that would increase the speed at which the list view scroll down or up. And with this change, they seem to have addressed that and fixed it, which will make Flutter apps feel even more native than they do right now. Then I can see that there's a few open source contributions. So we've got the new animation style widget. It allows you to override the default animation behavior in widgets such as material app, expansion tile, pop-up menu button, etc. So one good use of this would be to customize the dark mode, light mode animation in material app. So this is quite a good one that I look forward to trying out. Let me know if you want a video about it. I think it would be quite good to check it out together and see how it works. I like this adaptive switch that they've implemented. It says this adaptive component looks and feels native on macOS and iOS, but on all other devices it has the material design look. And I think this is, I was reading the roadmap for 2023 and this is one of the nice to haves that they weren't able to implement during the year. But I think one of the desires, at least from the community, is to create a UI library that's completely adaptive, so it will look and feel like iOS if the app is run on macOS and iOS devices, and it will look Android if you run it on an Android device, and then it will look Windows on a Windows device. So yeah, so this is what I was referring to. So we're looking at the 2023 roadmap now. They've actually published a new one for 2024 now, so I'm in the archive. But it says a lot of developers have expressed an interest in creating applications that integrate closely with the look and feel of their target platform when supporting multiple ones. We want to study whether some form of adaptive layout would be able to address these needs, starting with iOS and Android. So it's good to see that they've made one change towards that direction. I'm not sure whether this will become more of a widespread approach. It doesn't seem like it. This was under research in the roadmap, so it's something that's very early on and they're probably not planning to implement for a while. And the next big one really is the engine. They've started preview of Impeller for Android devices. So this really was a game changer for iOS. I think Flutter apps were just so janky with the previous iOS rendering engine, and Impeller really changed the game in that sense. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the community thinks of Impeller on Android. It looks like it's just in preview right now for Android. So they say it means that Flutter apps on nearly all Android devices are expected to render correctly, with the exception of a small number of remaining features that are coming soon. So it's not fully supported yet for all Android devices, but it's really, really reassuring that they're expanding the engine on to Android. It means that they're very committed to user experience and making Flutter feel as native as possible. A really cool implementation for deep linking as well for Android. So they've implemented this deep linking web validator, which will make it a bit easier to debug your deep links and trying to understand what's going on if they don't work, as far as I can see. To be honest, I'm a big user of Firebase dynamic links, but they are going to be deprecated in 2025. So this will be a really good addition for when I have to implement my own deep links. And then we've got some nice improvements on iOS to make Flutter feel a little bit more native. So I can see Flutter text now looks a little bit more compact following Apple design guidelines. So you can see the example here. So before it was a bit more spaced out, I guess, and bigger, whereas now they've implemented it so that it's a bit more compact, I guess, and smaller. And that conforms to the Apple design guidelines, which is great to see. We all want our Flutter apps to look and feel as native as possible, as native as they can. Oh, great. And then they've made some updates to DevTools. So obviously we've already covered the deep link setup on Android. That will be a good one. And yeah, it seems like it'll be part of the DevTools interface. And then they've also added an option in the enhanced tracing menu to track platform channel activity, which is when you interop or communicate with the native layer of your application, whether it's on Android or iOS. And desktop as well. So we finally get Windows ARM64 support. So we support the initial support for the ARM64 architecture. I actually haven't been developing for Windows with Flutter, but I can imagine this is a massive pain point for Windows developers, so it's really great to see that they got around to it. And I also can see, which may or may not be an issue for some developers, and they're dropping support for Windows 7 and 8, but also deprecating iOS 11. I don't think there's many commercial apps right now that should support those versions of the operating system. So it says here that in line with Microsoft's strategy, they want to enhance and kind of interact with more modern operating systems. So I guess Microsoft's strategy is already to deprecate apps that work with Windows 7 and 8. So, but I still do think that there's a lot of computers running Windows, especially in the corporate world, that use Windows 7 and 8. And so whoever's building applications with Flutter for those environments won't be able to use versions above 3.19 as far as I can see. With iOS 11, I'm a little bit less worried because we're on 17 right now, and realistically users should have all, or the majority of users in my experience, always upgrade to a newer operating system. So iOS 11 is quite old if we have a look. iOS 11 came out on September 19, 2017, so it feels like, well, it actually came out July 2018, but it feels like now, being the February 2024, it feels like the right time to deprecate that. And that's pretty much it. That's what stands out to me. I think it's a really good upgrade. I'm really excited to see the Flutter team really taking into consideration the fact that a lot of developers want Flutter apps to really feel native, and as a result of that, having implemented features like Impeller support on Android and adaptive UI components. So some really good stuff there. Excited to see what the AI trend develops into as well. I think this is going to be a big one in 2024. I've had a quick look at their roadmap and it's definitely mentioned quite heavily there. So I'll do a separate video on that, and we can take a look at what's to come in 2024 in terms of Flutter. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking around. Hit that notification bell if you haven't yet to get updates on all of my new videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.